So here's the situation. He found a property. It's owned free and clear, and he offered the seller a cash price, which the seller turned down. And so the seller offered him a price that was higher than his cash price. And so he said, well, are you open to seller financing or some kind of terms arrangement? And the seller said yes. And he's like, oh crap, all right, I got him on the hook now. What do I do? All right, so what's up, bootstrappers? This is Ryan Nickel coming at you with quick little tip here. So I got a phone call from someone that had watched one of my videos online, and they wanted to reach out because they had a question on basically a property. Let me just go ahead and give you the rundown here. And if you're watching, hey, thanks for the call. I'm just going to go ahead and share the information I shared with you with everybody else. And there's a guy walking through the crosswalk with a mask on outside. Just maybe that's why he's walking so slow, because he has a mask on and he can't breathe properly. All right, enough about that political post there. So here's the situation. He found a property. It's owned free and clear, and he offered the seller a cash price, which the seller turned down. And so the seller offered him a price that was higher than his cash price. And so he said, well, are you open to seller financing or some kind of terms arrangement? And the seller said yes. And he's like, oh crap, all right, I got him on the hook now. What do I do? So he went to the internet, started typing, and I came up. I don't know how I came up, other than I have a few YouTube videos out there. But hey, this is what I do. And so anyway, he called me up and asked me what I would do in that situation. And I asked basically what's going on with the seller? Like, why is he interested in selling? And the reason is that he lives too far away from the property. Come to find out, he lives in a big city, and this particular property is maybe about a 30-minute drive. I don't know, maybe 20-minute drive from where he's at in the big city. So it's like, okay, he doesn't live out of state, doesn't live all this stuff. So I'm gathering, I don't know this for sure, but I'm gathering that the gentleman is older and doesn't like to drive. He doesn't like the drive to go, and he probably goes and he collects. He's probably old school and goes and collects the rent every single month. And the tenants are there, they're month to month, and they're paying what's considered, at least in his opinion, considered market rents for the property. But I'm assuming that the guy's old school and he goes and he collects every single month, and he's tired of doing it. He's been doing it for years. I guess this tenant has been there for at least 10 or 12 years, something crazy like that. And so the reason for selling is he wants to buy another house closer to where he lives. So, this is so funny for me to think about this, because I have properties all over the place, but I don't go drive and collect my rent. They deposit it directly into the bank account. So anyway, so trying to feel for this guy's his pain, his motivation. Like, why would he sell? Like, basically, he's collecting $1,200 a month rent. Yeah, he has taxes and insurance that he pays, but in essence, he's getting $1,200 every single month in and month out. Yeah, he has to get in his car and drive and go get it. And so what's the real motivation other than it's an inconvenience for me? Okay, are you going to sell at a discount? Apparently not. I mean, he didn't want to take a cash price because it was an inconvenience. And so it's like, okay, how can we make this deal structure work? So we already know he's collecting $1,200 a month, but he pays taxes and he takes his insurance. And so, honestly, on the surface, it looks like there's not a whole lot that I would do. With that particular, with that information, I'm just like, okay. I mean, the dude has no motivation to want to do it. I mean, I asked this as well. It says, does the seller need to have his cash, all of his cash, in order to buy a new property? He said, no, he doesn't. So that's why he's open to seller financing. So this is what I suggested to him. I said, go back to the seller and tell him that, it's like, hey, it sounds to me that you're just tired of driving over there and getting the rent every single month. And if that's the case, why don't you just hire a property manager to collect the money and put it into your account for you? Because now you're going to start to see what the real pain issue is. Oh, I don't want to pay them. They're going to charge me 10%. I don't want to pay them 10%. Well, then, drive over there and get the rent. Oh, I don't want to drive over there. Now, I don't know. This is me fabricating, this is me making stuff up. It could be like, oh, I'm getting too old, I can't drive, or I just lost my license and I got to call my grandson over to come pick me up, and he's getting mad at picking me up every month. I'm like, well, then pay him $20 gas, like come up with a solution, like solve the guy's problem, because that's what it's really all about. It's like, what is the problem that we can solve? And that's usually how I approach my these sub 2s that I pick up. So here's the idea, here's the strategy that I gave him. I haven't heard back from him. I don't know if he went running with it or not, but this is what I would do, is I would call him up and say, hey, it sounds like you're just getting sick and tired of just driving over there. I would be too. I wouldn't want to go drive collecting my rent every single month. Why don't you hire a property manager, someone there locally that can just go and collect the money and put it into your account? Or better yet, why don't you just instruct your tenant to go put it into your account so that you have it every single month? I mean, like, that's it, right? But if he goes, oh, I don't want to have to hire a property manager and all this stuff, and here's the problem. Okay, now you need to make it as convenient for him as possible, and the way you make it convenient is like, tell you what, I am interested in buying this property. Let me do this for you. Let me go ahead and put an option to purchase your property. I will take care of the monthly cash flow. I'll take care of your tenant right now. And basically what you're doing is you're going to put an option on the property and to buy it in 2 years, and you go and you work with that tenant, get him qualified to buy the house, and in the meantime you collect all the rent from the tenant. Say, in order to do this, I'm gonna because, for example, if he says, yeah, property manager, like, that's a great idea, I should probably do that, like, tell you what, I'm interested in buying this property. Let me go ahead and put an option to buy the property. I'll handle the tenant, all of the making sure the money's in your account. Or basically, I'll pay you directly every single month, because you're just taking the money from the tenant and paying him. And, in exchange, I will buy your property from you in, 18 months or 24 months or 36 months, however you want to do it. 3 years is probably best, because you work with that guy for 2. If he doesn't, you kick him out and you put someone else in play, and you sell it at a higher price. So that's the option that I would work with this guy. And I've done this a couple of times, where we have just basically done a lease option on the property, and because the property is already leased to somebody else, I just would put a straight option with a master lease agreement. So basically, I'm leasing this property from him, or basically property managing this property, but with the option intent, and have a master lease agreement so that I can go ahead and take over the lease on that particular property. So, that's what I would do. And I would collect, $150 a month or whatever. So, 10%, on 1,200 is $120. So I get $120 cash flow and turn around and sell it to the guy. That's a creative option that I would go ahead and I would present to the seller and just see where it goes from there. Now I have a dialogue. Now we're working towards something. And who knows? It could be just what he wants. Like, hey, no hassle. Sure, you want that? No problem. Yeah, you'll pay me X amount of dollars a month. I don't even have to think about it. And in the meantime, I don't have to drive all the way up there, 20 minutes away. Oh my gosh. So, but hey, sellers' problems are what we're looking for. And, their problems might not be our problem, but that's a strategy, and that's something that I would seriously consider. So, hey, if you're watching this video, let me know how it went. Hey, if you have a property also that they're not interested in your cash offer, but you want to work out some kind of seller financing terms, give me a call. Let's troubleshoot this thing, and maybe we can work on it together. There are a lot of different options out there. This is just one of them, throwing the option on the property and taking it over. We did this on a property up in Chico. This was in Chico. This was goodness gracious. I want to say this was 2015, 2016. And so it was me. I put an option on this property. This guy lived in Mexico. He had it on the market for about 2 years, and it was staged too. And maybe it wasn't 2 years, but it was maybe a year. He had it staged, and he was paying for the staging fee plus the mortgage and all this stuff, and it was just sitting on the market. So I just said, hey man, give me 2 years, I'll get this thing sold for you at this price. And he agreed to it. And I put someone in there. He didn't want me, I couldn't sandwich this one, so I just had the option in play. He wanted the monthly cash flow, and he wanted everything, and he gave the person that moved in his bank account information, and they just deposited into the bank account every single month. But when it came time for them to exercise their option, she called me up. She's like, hey, I'm ready to do this. How do I do it? I then had to, we ended up doing a double close on this one, where we just went ahead and I closed on it and then sold it to her, but I used her funds to do that. And that was 2018, maybe. And everything went smoothly on that one. Actually, they pulled the trigger, I think, 18 months. It wasn't even a full 2 years. They were able to pull the trigger, and it was a sweet deal. It was a really sweet deal. Here I am at the gym, and man, there's like no parking today. It's like everyone wants to be here because they know I'm here, I guess. So, oh, here I go. You can see all the way in the very, very back. Well, Mr. Nickel in the back row, please stand up. So anyway, go ahead, run with that. There's a lot of different creative ideas, and if you're interested, on this very, very channel here, there is a playlist right below, or somewhere. I don't know. You click on the playlist, and it'll show you what we got going on here. There's a 3-day training that I did. It's absolutely free. It wasn't free for those that came. It was $5,000 for them, but there's a training. Go through it. It's a lot of content there. It goes through a lot of the creative stuff and structures that we did, that I've been doing for quite a while. I think that training was done in 2018, right around the same time. We've added some more tricks to our arsenal, but hey, you know what? That's the free stuff. A whole lot of content there. Like I said, a lot of people paid a lot of money to be in that room and to get that stuff, and they did. Man, one guy in particular, he went out with that strategy and he bought himself an RV park that's cash flowing about, I think last time I talked to him, he said it's cash flowing at roughly about $15,000 a month. And he only put, I think he bought it for $250,000. And then he's done some improvements to it, but it was a piece of junk at the time. It was a total wreck. But he said that he wouldn't have got it if it wasn't for the strategies that he learned in that course. Anyway, I don't need to sell you a free course because it's free. If you want to take it, go for it. It's right there. But this is the kind of creative stuff that we do. We're looking for opportunities and problems that we can solve. So if this helps you, fantastic. Just remember, you're one deal away from changing your entire future. All it takes is just one deal. So get out there and do it. I'm Ryan Nickel. See you later.